Hi guys, it's Thommo and welcome to a special Oscars edition video this weekend. And I'm joined by fellow YouTuber Chris Haydon from the Midas Touch.
Hey everyone!
So we're going to be discussing our own picks for the Oscar winners for tonight's ceremony. And we're going to try and mix it up a little bit with some slightly different choices that we think should win the awards and some that are a bit more obvious.
Yeah, we're going to try and have a little bit of variety. And the Oscars can often be a little bit too predictable, can't they?
Yes.
But we're hoping that there's going to be a few categories where we got some surprises. So we're going to try and guesstimate them now, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to start off with one of the slightly smaller categories. So we're going to talk about best score. So who do you think is going to win, Chris?
Well, I think I know who's going to win.
Yep.
But I really want Johan Johansson for Sicario to win. I think that is a tremendous score. And I think, to be honest, a score is supposed to complement the images.
Yeah.
And I don't think, well, few films I think have had a score that have been quite as potent and toxic as the music in that movie. It just really builds that sense of dread and atmosphere. And yeah, I think it's amazing. So I'd really, really like to see Sicario take a win.
And I'm going to go with my heart here. And I'm going to say Star Wars to win. If Star Wars could win every award it's up for, I would be very pleased. But I think especially as it's John Williams and the fact that he creates so many incredible scores and that are so iconic.
Oh, the guy's a genius.
And I think it's probably one of those scores that I've listened to so many times on my iPhone.
Yeah.
It's kind of just embedded in my mind.
I'll tell you what. Some of the tracks on it are just beautiful. Like, Rey's theme is wonderful.
It's incredible.
And do you know what? We're talking about score and I said Sicario and you say Star Wars.
Yeah.
I would put money on the fact that Star Wars will walk away with more Oscars than Sicario.
Probably.
Because, to be honest, in terms of like the visual effects ones, I think the only real rival that Star Wars has is Mad Max.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, as you just said, from the heart, I think even though the Academy are quite cold,
yeah,
you know, they probably will want to award Star Wars, and why not? Because it's a wonderful movie.
I think we might have a few surprises in the fact that Star Wars is really in the mix, whereas people may not have originally thought straight away, oh, Star Wars is an Oscar film.
Definitely.
A bit like Mad Max.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of sentimental value to Star Wars, and I think especially with John Williams as well, like, he's got a very, very good chance.
Oh, yeah, and he's like an old-timer at these things, you know. He's very respected, and I think it would just be a really beautiful homage to him and the movie. So,
but ultimately, we think...
Well, he thinks the Hateful Eight, don't we?
Hateful Eight will probably
yeah.
win. So,
yeah.
So that's what we reckon for the score. On to adapted screenplay. We've got differing views on this one as well.
We do. Yes, for me, and it's probably because I'm exceptionally biased, but whatever, I am going with Nick Hornby for Brooklyn, because I think that screenplay is absolutely mesmeric. I think that is the real heart of the film, and I think it does a beautiful, beautiful means of actually translating the story from the page to the screen. And I'm worried that Brooklyn's going to walk away empty-handed.
Which it shouldn't. It's
such a brilliant film.
And the fact that so many people are embracing it as well.
Yeah.
It's essentially a really small Irish film.
It is. I feel like a scratch record because I've been banging on about how much Brooklyn's great for like months now, but now that it's come down to the big day, I'm just really worried it's going to buckle, and I think this is the category that has got the chance to win.
Yeah.
So my fingers have crossed for the Little Irish movie, so Nick Hornby for Brooklyn.
And I'm going for a little Canadian movie.
Yes.
In Room, and I just think I was blown away by Room, and I think this is a beautifully transported film onto screen. It made me want to read the book instantly. I think it's such a powerful story, and I mean, I very, very rarely cry at films or feel a massive emotional attachment, whereas this film had me, and I think it's so...
Isn't it funny? You cried at Room, and I cried at Brooklyn. God,
it's incredible.
We're getting soft, mate.
We really are. But I really hope Room does You know.
And you're right with the story of Room as well, because it's got very little to work with for the first, the first hour.
And then it just turns into something even more powerful.
The dialogue is really striking in that film, yeah.
Is incredible. So I personally think Room will win this award.
I'll tell you what, this is the only one where I actually have no idea who will win.
I wouldn't want to put money on this award.
I think probably at best it will probably be The Big Short, which if it is will be an absolute joke. But
hey ho.
So on to original then, eh?
And we're in agreement.
We are. Happy families.
Which it's a film that I think it might have a small shot of winning best film if you could choose from any of the others. I
think it's the only one that's got this slight opportunity against the big one, isn't it?
Yeah, but we think Spotlight will win this award. I think this is another. It's such a powerful story.
Oh my god.
It's one of those ones that really hits you to the core.
It does. It gets under your skin, this movie.
It really
does. The dialogue shared between the characters, it's very impressive just how attached you become to these people and this story. And, this is pretty potent and poignant subject matter.
Yeah.
And I think the film gets it across in a way that's both pretty powerful and compelling without repressing the actual horror of what's going on. It's a really striking work.
There are certain scenes that are particularly well written, especially, and I'll speak a little bit more about it later, but Mark Ruffalo's scene, it's one of the most striking scenes you will see in a film out of any of the Oscar nominations.
When he goes off, man, goosebumps.
Big time. And I think it's moments like that that make Spotlight a film that you cannot ignore, and that you can completely understand why it is involved in this year's ceremony, and and why so many people have talked about it in the lead up.
It's a very important movie, and it's a totally brilliant movie. Big fan of Spotlight.
So let's hope Spotlight takes this one away. On to animated. And
it's one of my favourites.
One of your favourites, and one that I think is massively overrated. Really overrated.
Because he's controversial like that.
You think Inside Out?
I do think Inside Out.
Which I think the whole world knows Inside Out is going to win this one.
I think, to be honest, the other people probably won't even bother turning up.
No.
However, it's a really, really great category,
it's a
animation.
Very strong film.
I mean, you've got Anomalisa in there, you've got Song of the Sea, Shaun the Sheep, when Marnie was there. I mean, in terms of movies, there's some real quality there.
If you took Inside Out of this category, if Inside Out was in another year...
it's up. No one would know. Couldn't call it.
No, not at all.
I would probably have a stab at Anomalisa, but even that's a little bit out there, I think, for the Academy voters.
I think it's nice to have... Sometimes, some years you get, 3 nominations. And you kind of think...
Why? Use the nominations,
Admittedly, this year is a foregone conclusion, but it's nice to see a couple more nominations. I know it's still not a massive field, but...
and you're totally right, because just like we were talking earlier about Star Wars, even though the other 4 have not got a chance in hell of winning, they can still put on their Blu-ray cover Academy Award nominee. Why not give the people the credit they deserve, even if they're not going to win? So, it's a great year for animation, but let's face it, Inside Out is going to win, and it was going to have won back when it debuted, really. So...
Well, I would have put forward The Good Dinosaur, but...
Yeah, you're a big fan of The Good Dinosaur, weren't you?
I loved The Good Dinosaur. I thought it was great, but obviously not... Everyone, many people
polar opposite opinion. Fortress of Thommo is the place to be, you know what I'm saying?
So Inside Out for animated.
Yes.
Starting to get onto the bigger ones now. Cinematography. Now, we think this is the Revenant's year. The Revenant is pretty much going to be the big dog.
This is back-to-back for Emmanuel Lubezki, I think.
And rightly so.
Oh my god.
I think rightly so.
There's no other film that's nominated that's quite like The Revenant in terms of the experience of cinema. There's just nothing. However, I really think Roger Deakins' work in Sicario is stunning.
Sicario is a stunning looking film.
Absolutely amazing. And the fact that it's almost been ignored just because of the sheer magnitude of The Revenant, I think is pretty sad. So my heart is saying, oh, come on, Deakins. My head and everything else is saying, no one is better than Lubezki at the moment, because there's no one, is there?
No, and when you watch The Revenant as well, as much as it is striking for the fact that Leo puts in such a physical performance, and it's such a dirty and grimy film. It's so you kind of feel everything that he goes through, but that a lot of that is to do with the cinematography.
Oh my god!
The whole beautiful backdrop to it, and even just like silly things like the ash flying into the air. He makes it look so beautiful.
It's totally transporting, that film. And as someone who was not a fan of Birdman, as controversial as that is, I've always said that I think the best thing about that movie was Lubezki's cinematography, because that whole one-shot gimmick, that's him.
Yeah.
And he, I think, really is the master of The Revenant, because, as you just said, that shot with the ash in the fire, these massive, like, sprawling landscape shots.
Yeah.
You're just entirely immersed in this pretty much, well, hell, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But
a beautiful hell.
I mean, I can remember there was a certain shot that I remember after, I know we spoke about it after we'd seen the film together, where it looked like a whole kind of lake. And it ended up, Leo was walking across it, and it was a snowy landscape, and it was just incredible. I've never seen anything as silly and as simple as it sounds. It looked like something only he could create.
No,
only he could put that on a screen.
That's not silly at all, because it might be brazen or bold to say, but there isn't anybody at the moment who can touch Lubezki.
No.
In terms of composing a shot and filling a frame, there's just nobody even in the same league as him at the moment.
No.
And I think The Revenant's his best work. So I will be happy to watch him claim the award.
Yeah.
Even if it is at the expense of Roger Deakins, which is a shame. But, tough luck, I suppose.
No, he definitely deserves it. And on the same kind of note, for director, we reckon Inarritu as well.
Yep.
That
Again.
man's going to get it again 2 years in a row.
On the trot.
Once again, I think it's well deserved. I mean, the amount of effort and time that he's put into this film is ridiculous.
And I think as well, the actual synergy between Inarritu and Lubezki is just amazing. I mean, their partnership is so good. And as you said, the actual physicality of not just the performance of The Revenant, but the actual process of making it.
Yeah.
Like, they shot this thing with natural light.
Yeah.
That is mental. I mean, it's not even like smart. It's literally stupid, but it just works so brilliantly.
And I think that just shows what a master of the art he is. The fact that he will just go to any lengths, that he'll put these obstacles in front of him, knowing that they're going to be so difficult to overcome. Yeah. But yet he'll do it in the name of film.
I mean, he's in terms of Hollywood filmmakers, because obviously I know he's a foreign filmmaker, but now that he's certified as an American Hollywood filmmaker, he is one of the few visionaries working. He's, as you just said, he's very willing to put everything to the extreme for his craft, and we don't really see that. And I think, to be honest, the people he's actually nominated against, I think a lot of them have made quite cagey movies. I mean, apart from Ridley Scott, which The Martian, although it's not as good as everyone's been saying, it's his best work for a while.
Yeah, a long time.
And it's a really brilliantly directed movie. But when you're up against people like McCarthy, Spotlight's an amazing film, but it's not an amazingly directed film.
No.
Whilst The Revenant is a fantastically directed film, so...
Yeah, and you've got to remember, like, The Revenant, there's half as much dialogue in The Revenant as any of the other films, so...
And yet it uses as much of its actors, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's literally built upon the direction and the cinematography as much as it is the performances.
It's an entirely working film.
Yeah.
Every department really excels, and I think Inarritu deserves it. Just give him the award. I know it's twice on the trot, but yeah.
No, he definitely needs this award. On to supporting actress. Now, I'm going to just throw this in. I was angered after the BAFTAs when Kate Winslet won her award.
Do you know what? So was I.
Because as much as Jobs was a good film, and hers was certainly a better performance than Fassbender's.
Oh my God, yeah.
I still don't think she deserved a BAFTA.
Well, I think, to be honest with you, I think Kate Winslet is slowly morphing into Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Insofar as the fact that whatever she does, they're willing to, applaud it. And I think that's exactly the same with Christian Bale, who's nominated for supporting actor.
Yeah.
You know, Christian Bale could go out and buy a bag of potatoes, and somebody would think it's arresting. So I think I reckon Kate Winslet has got the legs to win Best Supporting Actress. I don't think she deserves it.
No.
However, we both think Alicia Vikander's going to win it.
Yes.
But then again, she's not a supporting actress.
No,
And
she's not.
I would really like Rooney Mara to win it for Carol, who also is not a supporting actress.
No,
so
it's almost a bit of a disservice to their performances in them being acknowledged as supporting rather than leading. But
it's a moral grey area with the Oscars. I wish they'd actually do an award like the SAGs and actually award an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
Because that way it puts everyone out on a level playing field and everyone is respected for all their efforts, whether they're a major or a minor character.
Mm-hmm.
So movies like Mad Max Fury Road, or Carol, or films where they've got a few characters who might not do loads.
Well, things like Spotlight as well.
Yeah. I mean,
look at
the amount of people in
Spotlight.
Yeah.
You know.
And The Revenant. I mean, I think Domhnall Gleeson and Will Poulter are fantastic in that movie.
And they're key members of that cast.
But so what are we gonna say then? Are we gonna say that we think Vikander's gonna win?
Yeah, because I just love her.
I mean, she is a babe.
And she is so much better than Eddie Redmayne in this film.
Oh my god, yeah, she's like light years better than him.
Like, admittedly, it's one of those performances that people are going to laud praise on him because he becomes a woman and it's different and it's Eddie Redmayne and he's somehow popular.
You see, last year when he won, I was like, yeah, but Felicity Jones is the real genius behind that film.
But Vikander is like incredible compared to him in this film.
She is the thing that makes the film interesting.
She makes the Danish Girl the film that it probably isn't. She makes it a hell of a lot better than what it is.
She gives, just like I said about Benedict Cumberbatch in The Imitation Game.
Yeah.
She gives a 5-star performance in a 3-star movie.
Yeah, exactly that. But no, I think she definitely does it. And I would love her to, because she's been brilliant this year. Or say, in the past year, shall we say.
I wish she was nommed for Ex Machina as well. She's great in that movie.
She is brilliant. And I'm so glad she's now been kind of elevated to this level where we are going to see her on a regular basis.
Yeah, definitely.
She is incredible. So let's hope she wins it. Who knows whether she will or not. Probably Winslet, knowing our luck. Supporting actor. This is an interesting one.
This one, I think, out of all the big categories, this is probably the most open one.
Yeah.
Because
it's a strong field.
All the people we've noted have at least won once.
Yes.
That doesn't happen often, does it?
No.
I really want him to win just because it's wonderful, but I think the Oscars will go with Sylvester Stallone for Creed.
Yeah.
I think...
Why though? Why do you think that?
2 reasons. One, because it's a fantastic performance. Yeah. I don't think he's... I mean, to be honest, I would have nominated Michael B. Jordan for lead actor.
Yeah.
As much as I would have nominated for Stallone, but as for a Sylvester Stallone performance, it's exemplary.
No, it's very
fantastic.
Good. It is very good.
Secondly, I cannot really see... I could be, talking ill, but I can't really see of another opportunity that Sylvester Stallone has got to become an actor nominee at the Academy Awards. It could happen.
But it's very
unlikely. And he is an institution at the Oscars, and he is someone who is very involved with the Academy, and I just think if there's ever the chance that this could have happened, because I don't think anyone could have fathomed that the dude who was selling bread for Warburton's would become nominated for an Oscar, and I just think it's an opportunity they won't pass up.
And it'll bring the house down.
And people will go crazy for that.
Yeah.
Because the thing as well is everyone loves Stallone.
Yeah.
Like, he's somebody who's had an impact upon pretty much any person who likes film.
Yeah.
So I just think it'll be kind of... almost like a fellowship award.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, thank you for your years of service, now go off and do the Expendables 28.
Yeah.
But there are 2 other big uns in the mix, aren't there?
There are, and I'm going to go with Mark Ruffalo because I think, like we've said with Spotlight, the fact that it has got a brilliant ensemble cast.
It does, yeah.
And they're literally great performances across the board. For him to stand out from those other individuals in such a strong film, I think that shows the level at which he performs in that film.
Yeah.
And say that particular scene he strikes every note. He hits the chords, and he really kind of
He gets to the heartstrings.
He does, and I think it's something we don't really see much from him. I mean, we've said, like, we've discussed this in the past, like, about films like Zodiac that he's in, but he doesn't get parts like Spotlight very, very often, because he's, like, at the moment he's typecast because of the Hulk and that kind of thing. So to see him do another film like this, and he really does, like, hammer it home for me.
You see, I think Mark Ruffalo is an actor who is like a rock for other actors. I mean, I know you weren't a fan, but I really loved the sort of the subdued and subtle performance that he delivered in Foxcatcher, which he was also nominated for an Oscar. I think he's got a way with actors around him that brings out the best in him.
Yeah.
Because he really shines in the moments where perhaps they don't. But I think what's interesting in a movie like Spotlight is it doesn't really have a lead actor.
It doesn't, no.
Ruffalo and Rachel McAdams, who's also nominated, I think are easily the best thing in it.
Definitely.
And if I was a voter, I would argue that Mark Ruffalo is probably the most important character in the movie in terms of actually screen presence and, as you just said, particular big scenes of dialogue delivery. But he delivers these big moments that you said are really powerful and passionate in really small doses.
Yes.
He's very quiet for the rest of the film, and I think there are very few actors that have got his level of quality and control. And you know, as much as I think Stallone will win, I'd be over the moon for Ruffalo to win because the quality of his performance is exemplary.
It is.
But Mark Rylance could win for Bridge of Spies too, couldn't he?
He's a dark horse, and I think it's nice to see him in the mix as well.
Because let's not make any mistake, Bridge of Spies is a fantastic movie, and I think that's been kind of put on the back burner. I know it's not nominated for a lot, but I think it's actually been quite subdued. Yeah. And when you think of the people involved with it, not just Spielberg and Tom Hanks, but you've got the Coen brothers, and then you've got...
So there's a lot of talent
There's
involved
some
in this
big
film.
people in this movie, so...
I think people are leaving Bridge of Spies on you know, aside.
I think it's a bit of a wild card.
Yeah, I do. It's Spielberg kind of back on form.
I mean, it's for starters, it's a beautiful looking film, and it's a very rich, compelling subject matter, much like Spotlight, but the Oscars are very keen on war stuff, particularly that era. Yeah. So
I was a little bit disappointed that Tom Hanks wasn't. His name
I think that was criminal, to be honest. But then again, they did that before, didn't they? With what was it? Was it with Captain Phillips, where they nominated him, but they didn't nominate Barkhad Abdi, and then Barkhad Abdi won the BAFTA, didn't he? Right. So they do seem to do that. It's like, I wonder if like certain films and the certain Academy voters, they have a number that they can actually award to. Do you know what I mean? Because there's plenty of people in Spotlight who could have been nominated, and the right two were picked. But Stanley Tucci's very good in the movie. John Slattery's very good in the movie.
I really like John Slattery in that.
You know, so
I wouldn't write off Rylance.
No,
definitely not. But I think you might be right in saying Stallone's gonna win, which
is the one I'm most intrigued at.
Yeah, I would have no problem with that. Stallone or Ruffalo or even Rylance. I think if any of those three win, which one of them will, I think we'll be happy.
And as a real outside thing as well, we're talking about Kate Winslet. I would have probably nominated Seth Rogen for any performance out of Steve Jobs. I probably would have nominated Seth Rogen, to be honest.
No, that's. I would have been more than happy if he was in there. Because I think
he's really good in the movie. Yeah, really good,
very good. So we're going to come on to the main ones, which are the obvious ones.
These are pretty set in stone, aren't they?
So best actress.
Brie Larson.
Love a bit of cheese. Brie.
Oh, Fanta. Oh, cheese. As much as I would just roll down the hills in joy if Saoirse Ronan won for Brooklyn, it ain't going to happen.
No, Brie's got this.
She's
had this locked for months.
And to be fair, I mean, Brie has been delivering wonderful performances for years now. Short Term 12. Oh, what film.
I mean, that was a disgrace that she wasn't even considered for that.
And she is sublime in Room. I mean, I think we should mention just how wonderful Jacob Tremblay is in that film. He's been recognised in pretty much most other ceremonies apart from the Oscars, and I think, to be honest, he's one of the best performances of the year.
He is. For such a young actor, and to be involved in something that is such a strong topic. And,
Oh my god,
the way it plays out,
it's pretty horrible. Yeah,
really grim film, and for him to be involved literally for over half the film with just Brie Larson.
Yeah.
So he's kind of carrying a whole film with a reasonably established actress.
Yeah.
And he's got to be on the same level as her, and he does.
It's very impressive.
And at times he's actually, he excels. And
he shines. He's great.
He's incredible. So
there's a real emotional complexity to Brie's performance. It's very, very vulnerable, but it's very strong at the same time.
Yes.
She commands the screen beautifully without saying very much at all. And the moments where the film actually really gets almost like vice tense. I mean, we won't spoil it, but there's a particular scene where they try and get out of the room.
Yes.
The way that she delivers a particular sequence of dialogue in that just rips through you. I mean, it's towering, isn't it?
It really is, and say she's one of those actresses who's been performing for years now at this level.
She's a master of her craft.
Yeah, and it's about time that she has really got this acknowledgement and the fact that she is going to win this Oscar.
Yeah.
I think, we're going to see so much more of her, which
I think it's good for acting that she'll win.
It is. It really is. I think it's it's one of those stories where it's not like your Meryl Streep's going to win it every other year or something.
For God's sake!
This is someone who has clearly worked on a hell of a lot of independent films.
Yeah.
And she's worked her way up. And even Room is
such
a small
Room's
film
a micro movie.
Yeah.
Again, it's
some of the others. So it's great. It's great to see not only her get the acknowledgement, but the fact that a film like Room can be it be held in such high regard.
Totally agree.
And rightly so. I mean,
for my money, Best Lead Actress is the strongest category this year.
Yes.
I think every person nominated is worthy of the award. I would love Saoirse Ronan to win it, but I don't think anybody can take away even an inch of the brilliance of Brie's performance in that film, and I'll be very pleased to watch her accept it, and I want to hear her speech. So
no, definitely Brie's year. Definitely Brie's year.
I mean, actor. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? It's going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger of Terminator Genesis. No.
So after the disappointment of Liverpool losing in the cup final, I'm going to be absolutely ecstatic when Leo goes up on the stage and grabs that Oscar.
Yep.
I mean, it's incredible to think that he's never won an Oscar.
How? I don't know if it's incredible or if it's really, really depressing. I mean, and I think what's even more sad is the fact that he is going to win the Oscar this year for one of the greatest performances of his career, one of the bravest, boldest, and probably toughest.
Yeah.
And some people are going to be like, he was nominated in the easy category, or he's got it as a sympathy. I mean, let's face it, everyone he's nominated against is nowhere near as good as him.
I think, I mean, the only one that you could possibly say is a reasonable amount of competition would be Matt Damon.
I agree, totally.
But then Matt Damon's is so different because Matt Damon's performance has got a lot of comedy to it more than anything.
I think Matt Damon in The Martian shows quite a broad range. Yeah. Because he's got comedy, he's got drama, he's got suspense, he's got emotion.
The kind of perseverance of man, but
Leo's is the physicality of it. It's the ruggedness of it. It's the really throwing everything into this role to make this character believable, to make this character compelling. And I mean, I think he should have won countless times.
Yonks ago.
Again, big shout out to Mark Ruffalo. I think both those, Mark Ruffalo and Leo, should have won for Shutter Island a few years ago. They were stunning in that movie. But it's Leo's year. Nobody can take it away from him. To be honest, nobody else should even bother turning up. They should literally just give him his Oscar,
clap him
give him a nice glass of something, and let him have a nice evening.
Let him have a vape.
Yeah, cheeky vape.
But going back to saying about Matt Damon and The Martian, you've got two very different performances between him and Leo. Mm-hmm. The whole survival.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like Leo's, like you say, is so brutal and physical, and it's kind of like he's dragging himself through this. Literally. Whereas Matt Damon's is kind of the whole science edge. He's got tools for his survival. So
there's a weird sense of like enjoyment to Matt Damon's situation, isn't there? Like,
I mean,
he's a problem solver.
I walked out of The Martian, and I don't get me wrong, I really liked it, but I felt there wasn't enough peril.
Yeah, totally.
I didn't feel that he was ever that far up against it that I kind of thought, oh, he's not going to get saved, or he might not survive here. Whereas with Leo, it was kind of like, oh my god, like this guy is like on death's door for like half of the film.
Yeah, I mean, by the time you leave the cinema after watching The Revenant, you feel drained.
Yeah.
And that is a sheer credit to the actual prowess of Leo's performance, because you go through the ringer with him, and
Big time.
do you know what, as well? I don't even think it's a particularly Oscar-y performance either. Like, I know a lot of people have been like, Leo had to be raped by a bear to get an Oscar, but to be honest, I actually think he's someone who genuinely picks roles because he's good at picking roles, and he's got an agent who clearly knows that this is a very talented Universal performer. I mean, Christ, it was only a year ago when he was playing Jordan Belfort, and the year before that he was playing Calvin Cady. He's played very interesting, different characters.
He always picks those kind of characters.
He's just a great actor.
And it's the people he works with as well. Like, say, Inarritu. He clearly knows that Inarritu is the man at the moment.
Yeah.
And like you say, Wolf of Wall Street, Scorsese again.
But he's got such a great relationship with Scorsese, and I think Leo is not only a tremendous actor and a very important actor, but he's somebody who is aware that his presence in a particular film can really not just elevate it, but can actually make it into something considerably more powerful. And
without a doubt.
The Revenant would have been powerful anyway. Leo makes that film just an absolute juggernaut. Yeah. And I don't think anybody can take away the credit and the craftsmanship that he delivers. So
yeah. Another speech I'm looking forward to, actually.
Yeah, man.
Another speech I'm looking forward to.
Which I suppose leads quite nicely on to best film, doesn't it?
It does, which, foregone conclusion, I think, The Revenant.
Yeah, The Revenant's going to take Best Picture for sure.
And I don't think we can really complain about that.
Nope.
We've lauded praise on The Revenant throughout this recording, and I think you'd find it hard, a lot of people will agree with us. I think the majority of people that are going to be watching the ceremony will agree that The Revenant is hands down the best film.
Oh yeah, no questions. Yeah,
I think in every aspect of this film, you can't fault it at all. There's just so much work put into it.
There is, yeah, and I think as well, there's a few films that it's nominated against, which I would consider as a movie. Whilst The Revenant is a film, it's an
experience. It's a true experience.
It's an absolute feat of visual audio filmmaking, and all the people involved in it, whether they're on screen or behind the camera, make something it's just extraordinary. There's nothing like The Revenant, is there?
It's an astounding film, and it's one of those films you watch, and I've heard a lot of people say it when they're watching a film, they actually feel the cold.
Yeah.
It's strange, you're just in there. You're surrounded by this whole experience, and
you're just completely invested in what's going on screen.
It's such an immersive experience.
If you haven't seen The Revenant, which I think most people would have by now,
I think
seriously, just go and watch it. It's a truly outstanding movie. It really is.
It just stands out from the other films as well, because a lot of the other films that there's a lot of very hard-hitting subjects and quite, they're very arresting dramas, but this, like I say, it really is just a complete cinematic experience.
It is, totally.
And you won't see a film like this for years and years and years. There is just so much in there that you just can't. Sometimes you just can't believe it's unfolding on the screen.
So just some of the shots. When you think as well that The Revenant's story is quite simple.
Yeah.
For a film to be that rich and to be that powerful just blows my mind.
Essentially it is a
revenge
movie.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, and yet these guys have created something so much more.
Nothing is simple with Inarritu, though, is it? Nothing's simple with him. And I'm looking forward to seeing it taking the big prize. Yeah. I think, as we said earlier, I think the only thing that could slightly touch it is Spotlight. Yeah. But to be honest, I think The Revenant's got it hands down.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get much money out of the bookies if you're...
Yeah, probably not.
So that concludes our Oscars roundup and our thoughts on the contenders and who's going to win. We hope you enjoyed the video.
Yeah.
And make sure you check out the Midas Touch. Chris is bringing plenty of videos every week.
I am. This is truth. Yeah, give me a subscribe. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, just check out details of his channel in the description below. And as always, check out my channel, The Fortress of Thommo. I'm bringing a lot of TV reviews, quickfire reviews, and so much more very, very soon. And until the next time, take care.